Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG Spring Arena #1. I'm Rob Simpson. Here with me is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Grubby. And up next, we're going to have a great match between Huck and DRG. And right now, out on the floor, we actually currently have Josh Gray standing by for some pre-game words with Dongraegu. So let's hear it, Josh.
Hey everybody, it's Clutch, and I am joined by MVP's DRG. DRG, you are back at another MLG Arena. How do you feel being back here in New York City competing in a wonderful StarCraft 2 tournament?
다시 한번 뉴욕에 와서 아레나 대회에 참가하게 됐는데 다시 이 스타크래프트 대회 좋은 대회에 다시 참가하게 돼서 기분이 어떠세요?
이렇게 아름다운 도시에서 또 이렇게 한번 대회를 하게 돼서 너무너무 감사드리고요. 또 저번 뉴욕 아레나에서는 준우승이랑 아쉬운 성적을 거둬서 돌아갔지만 이번에는 좀 만족할 만한 성적을 가지고 돌아가고 싶어요.
I would like to thank you for inviting me to such a beautiful city in New York. And last time I made a second place, but I was a bit upset about it. But still, this time I'll try to make it better than last time before I go back to Korea.
You had a rough loss against MC. Now you're prepping for your next matchup against Huck, another Protoss player. How do you feel about going up against another Protoss player here?
장민철 선수한테 이제 좀 많이 한쪽으로 밀린 듯이 졌어요. 그런데 또 다시 이제 프로토스 잘하는 이제 크리스 로란제 선수랑 경기를 하게 될 텐데 새로운 또 토스랑 경기하는 거에 대해서 어떻게 생각하세요?
평소에 토스전에 자신 있었는데 오늘 좀 실수를 많이 하고 또 그 장민철 선수의 3대0을 지는 바람에 조금 당황스럽기도 한데 그래도 다시 정신 차려서 제대로 실수 안 하고 하면 괜찮을 것 같아요.
I used to be very confident in the ZBPs, but I made some mistakes before, so I lost to MC. But if I just keep myself up together and try my best, then I think I can do well against Chris.
You've had a rough start, but your fans are really rooting for you to do well. If you cruise through the rest of the tournament, who would you like to be up against in the finals?
앞으로도 열심히 잘 하시고 경기 계속 노력하시면 될 것 같고 그리고 팬들이 응원하는 가운데서 만약에 결승에 가신다면은 누구랑 붙고 싶나요?
대회 오기 전에는 아무래도 그냥 정훈이랑 무조건 하고 싶었는데 또 이렇게 이번에 또 첫 경기에 장민철 선수가 3대0 압도적으로 졌기 때문에 장민철 선수가 올라도 상관없을 것 같아요.
Before I came here, I really wanted to face MKP in the final, so I can have a revenge match. But since I lost 3-0 against MC, so I think MC should come in the final, so I can play against him.
We saw a rivalry at your previous tournament with MLG. Now maybe another rivalry has been born today. Ladies and gentlemen, the matchup of Huck versus DRG will be coming up very soon. Stay tuned.
Well, now we just heard a few words from DRG. Let's actually hear from Tasteless and Sheth over at the analysis desk. Guys, what do you think about this upcoming game?
I think it's going to be pretty exciting, man. It's good to be over here at the analysis desk. We get to be the Robin Hood, and you get to be the Batman over there. What do you think are going to be the results, Sheth, going into this?
All right. Well, last arena we had DRG beating Huck 2-0. I would love to see DRG winning 3-0. Just because Zerg brothers, we have to represent.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
In the GSL, you guys are not doing too hot right now. DRG, I think, is just he's one of these guys that's got a style that is just so hard to stop. He's so good at harassing. He's so good with his mutas. I think it's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah, I think it's Huck's chance to prove himself a little bit more. I think just recently he's been having some tough games. I think the game is about to start, so we'll give you some analysis.
Yeah, it actually looks like the game is loading up now.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, take it away and cast that game.
That's right. So coming up next, we are currently going live with DRG versus Huck. Game 1 is going to be here on Daybreak. So if we go ahead and hop into the game, let's get these players introduced. Down here in the lower left-hand corner of the map, playing as the Red Zerg representing Team MVP, we've got Dongraegu. And his opponent playing for Team Evil Geniuses, of course, warping in as the Evil Geniuses Blue Protoss, we've got Huck. So, Manuel, This is our first time getting to cast together. I'm so excited about this. Now, you actually have some very unique insight into this particular match because you actually just got to watch DRG play against his previous games about MC. Where do you think his headspace is right now coming into this series?
Well, I'll answer that in a second, but I want to just get my 2 words into about how happy I am to be finally casting here with you, Rob. It's an honor.
It's been a long time coming, my friend.
It has been a long time coming. We've been planning across various events. When will our moment come? Our moment has come. And like you said, so has Dongraegu and Huck's moment come to face off against each other. And I just want to say, yeah, Dongraegu, he lost 3-0 against MC, but he did not play bad. He did not play bad at all. Sure, as an observer, it's easy to point out mistakes, things that might have gone different if he had done this or that. But he definitely looked very strong. MC, through his brilliant defense, was able to actually get to the late game, which is no mean feat. And yeah, can Huck do the same? Can he do it differently? Can he take the fight early on to Dongraegu? Because it seems like MC did not rely a lot on his dreaded 2-base all-ins. He played very straight up macro games in the first and second game, and only in the third game did he throw somewhat of a curveball.
And then was that third game when he ended up going for Phoenixes, or was that more of his Warp Prism?
Yeah, the third game was where he used the Warp Prism in a very unique way, elevatoring units up and doing a kind of force field lockdown on the ramp, which you usually see with very few initial units, but he actually showed a large army, thereby basically eliminating the possibility in Dongraegu's mind that that was in fact going to happen.
Good, and getting those mind games in there is just so important. MC's a player that loves to play into his opponent. Now we've actually just seen, so Huck does have down his FFE. He has started that Nexus as well, and in talking with Huck a little bit before this game, he actually has an incredibly fast warp gate up, or excuse me, an incredibly fast robo up his sleeve. He does plan on utilizing those warp prisms in this matchup because he knows that if you catch your opponent off guard, you can deal some serious damage with those drops.
Yeah, and you were mentioning that Huck actually felt reasonably confident going into this game against Dongraegu.
Which is, I mean, relatively, I mean, I guess not that surprising. We talked a little bit about how previously, though, Huck didn't have too much luck against DRG. DRG actually defeated him 2-0, I believe it was, at the previous arena. But I mean, Huck is just feeling so good about this matchup, especially after MC was able to take that 3-0.
Yeah, and Sir Scoots from EG was actually surprisingly, do I want to say surprisingly, or perhaps not so much, predicting Huck to win this whole event. So we're going to have to see where that prediction comes through. Huck,
so surprising to hear the man from EG predicting his player winning.
Isn't it just? Huck, now we can see already a small, well, we can see a big difference from how MC had approached this game so far. Huck is going for a faster Nexus, faster Gateway, and a faster Cybercore.
That's right.
Where MC had a more economical build. He was going for the 17 Nexus, kept chrono boosting loads and loads of probes, and that's just already different. And I think it kind of defines Huck's play against Zerg. There are moments where you can say, hey, his probe count is lower than you would expect from someone who continually cranks them out, but he gets like unit amounts against Zerg, which are at an awkward time for Zerg to deal with them.
Which is good, right? You always want to keep your opponent on their toes. And
particularly against Zergs.
Exactly, especially against like a really heavy macro Zerg, because DRG a lot of the time you see him not build too many offensive units until he reaches those 80 drones. Now we also see that Huck very quickly, he did have down those 2 assimilators super fast, so he had a lot of gas, but actually now we see him getting out his Warp Gate research as well as his +1 attack onto that Forge.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of funny what Huck is doing with this building layout. He's leaving himself so wide open as almost to say one of 2 things. Either my base defense is not going to play a role in this game. I'm going to be in your face. Or the second one, he says, this build may look abusable, but just come and try me out, and I may make it awkward for you.
Yeah, and getting to bait in your opponent, especially when you have a trick up your sleeve, is always nice to see. Now we actually see Huck. He's already adding on his Robo. So like we were talking about a little bit earlier, he's getting that Robo pretty quickly.
Yeah, 6-minute Robo there. Oh, we see a little bit of something that...
Nope, good to go. So actually we see that first Stalker getting out here, just scaring off one of those Zerglings, and there he is pushing it out across the center of the map. And now DRG, He does have his third base down. He's also building out that Roach Warren. Now, you had talked a little bit before this match started, saying that DRG actually didn't seem to have too much focus in the units that he was building. It seemed like he was kind of just building a lot of different units.
Yeah, that eventually happened at the late game where, yeah, he was building a lot of different units like Mutalis, Bane Lane, Circling, Roach. He was upgrading a lot of different units at once. So we're gonna have to wait and see if he will focus his punch more in one particular place. For now, though, I can say it is almost like a carbon copy, a blueprint of the so popularized triple hatchery build with roaches. He's sitting at a pretty 57 drones, now making a few insurance roaches at the right time. 3 to 5 roaches is normal to make, just in case the opponent will apply some zealot pressure. And yeah, he's going to tier 2. He got everything at the normal times, Dongraegu. And just on the 3 gases, so you don't want to get too many gases early in case the Protoss is doing a kind of yeah, all in from 2 bases.
And so now we can actually see that Huck has very much taken advantage of using that Robo there. He does have out his first Warp Prism. He added on 3 more gateways there, and he has that Warp Prism packed in with 4 sentries. So we're absolutely going to see some pretty crazy harass out of this. Now, DRG is adding on a few additional Zerglings. Not sure if he was able to see that Warp Prism moving by there. This could very well catch him off guard.
Yeah, it's still completely hidden Warp Prism, so no reaction. Roaches are more or less in the right place, but with some good and quick force fields, he could section off a portion of the drones and the roaches would not be able to get close. And I like what Huck is doing. He's also throwing up a 3rd Nexus at this time, so keep that in the back of your mind as this attack goes down.
Wow, so that was actually a pretty fast reaction from DRG. They're already bringing up all of his roaches, actually forcing a couple of those Warpins to be cancelled, and even losing a couple of his units.
Yeah, actually he lost exactly 0 resources there. It's the nice thing about the Warp Prism. You have this 3-second I want to return this with the receipt option. If you
money back guarantee.
Yeah, like no satisfaction, so he gets his money back. He didn't want his zealots there.
And no, DRG's doing a good job keeping that off. He knows that that Warp Prism is going to continue to be annoying, but you actually need so few units to prevent that Warp Prism from doing anything as long as you're there
Good point,
preemptively.
yeah. If you're there right below, even with 8 Zerglings or 4 Roaches, that's usually enough. Maybe not the 8 Zerglings. The 4 Roaches, probably enough. Now, he is...
wow, see?
Yeah, he's threatening with that, but guess what? It's 10-minute, 50-second mark, and the 3rd Nexus finished. With a beautiful wall off, he sectioned it off completely. 4 gateways there with 4 cannons behind it. So even though Huck's supply is looking very low, he's gearing himself up really, really nicely for the game thereafter. Now sitting on 57 probes. Dongraegu has gone to 82 drones. Keep in mind, Dongraegu took no damage at all, so the ball is in his court. Yeah. He's got a great economy. He's gearing up his army. Will he attack Huck or what?
And so now, with where this game sits, do you think that Huck has too large of a window of vulnerability here? Is DRG going to be able to capitalize on this? Because he actually just has so many roaches out on the field right now. If we look at the army count, we can actually see that DRG's army is roughly twice Huck's in minerals.
Actually, I think you're right. We see also Huck is preparing for some mythical rumored Mutalis. He has 3 cannons in his main. He's going Templar Archives, none of which is going to help him now. And Dongraegu has Burrow out. He has got 200 supply ready at the 12-minute mark, and Tunneling Claws is almost about to finish. So while his 3rd is looking very nice in defense, once Tunneling Claws comes out, will he be able to repel a frontal attack here?
Oh man, we actually see Huck forced to throw down a few of his force fields there. Now we actually see the Tunneling Claws just about to come into play as soon as that's finished upgrading. He does have a few more seconds of vulnerability. Fortunately enough for Huck, he does have an OBS out there, so he's going to be able to see the burrowed units. But now we have all those Lings going in for the surround. There's actually not enough energy remaining on the rest of those units. It's not looking like Huck's units are long for this world. DRG just doing a great job keeping up the assault there. Now he's forced to pull back just a little bit. Now, we see that Huck has been able to pull at least a little bit closer as far as the supply gap goes, but behind this, DRG has done a very smart thing. He's keeping those Zerglings coming out, and he's just about to finish up that Spire.
Yeah, that's true, and DRG is still on the same economy, now taking a 4th, 82 drones. Huck has got 73, 75, 76 probes now, so he's looking very, very equal. The main question again is going to be, can he fend off this repeated attack by Dongraegu? Nice positioning there with the sentries, but as the Lings swarm in, not so great force field. A lot of units get in, and the rest will come in with Tunneling Claws. There's only 1 Immortal, and all the Stalkers are getting surrounded. No blink ready. Blink is ready, but I mean, he just doesn't have the units. Couple of Archons cannot go back because of the pylon, and as they get taken down,
Ouch.
Huck is looking very, very low army here.
So it might have just been too little too late for Huck in that case. DRG just had so many units out on the field, and here we go. Going in for the third. Oh man, although he's sandwiching himself between those cannons, but it's not looking like Huck has enough units to really capitalize on this. And of course, DRG is not one to stop with the assault, moving in with all of his Zerglings now all the way into the natural. He pretty much has free reign over this, and DRG is also going to be able to follow up with those Mutalisks very shortly, and Huck just really doesn't have anything to defend from that.
Yeah, 13 Mutalisks on the field, 6 more coming in, attack upgrade coming in, and Huck is not even able to deal with the units that are already on the field, so that's just going to be a nightmarish situation. Luckily for him, the 3 cannons are out, so they will repel and kill 1 Mutalisk here, but as the Mutalisks go in between the natural and the main, there's just not much that Huck can do. It just looks like there was too big of an investment in buildings and not enough units. I mean, he had everything ready to fend off his main and his third, but his natural was pretty exposed.
Very exposed, exactly. And then, so this is actually something exactly that we had heard about not too long ago. I believe it was about a week ago. This build started showing up where people were talking about reaching like a 200 Roach army by the 12-minute mark. And you're pretty much protected from everything. And that's exactly what we saw DRG do. And in this particular case, I mean, it was just what he needed to get Huck into a terrible position, because Huck went for that third, just like you said. We saw just how much he was investing into all of those buildings, and really it just left that natural wide open.
And it almost seems that Dongraegu is saying right now, look, this is how my style is supposed to work. Like,
because you were saying those other games were actually pretty close. He just missed a couple of his timings to hold off the MC's attacks.
Yeah, MC played different. MC showed more aggression usually, either with Void Ray Phoenixes or with Warp Gates. And Huck, he actually did almost no aggression. I mean, he had that Warp Prism, but it did no damage. It didn't even slow Dongraegu down. It didn't miss a beat. He got his economy up, he got his army up, and I feel really that's why, since Huck didn't do any damage with that, that's why Huck is now not able to hold and will be overrun by never-ending swarms of Zerg. Mutalisks, Zerglings, Roaches streaming in. Dongraegu now taking his 5th base, spamming units to attack the Huck, and he only has 50 supply left. Will be forced to call GG.
Yeah, and there's the tap out from Huck. So, I mean, unfortunate for him in that case. He tried something a little unorthodox, tried getting that Warp Prism out there. But, I mean, DRG was just so good at stopping it and really just showing him that, hey, no, I'm going to play like this and I'm going to be able to crush through you.
Yeah, and even though that Prism was mostly undetected, unscouted, the rhythm of the game was very easy to read for Dongraegu. Not quite like how MC played it, with a very late War Prism. So I'm very curious to see. We were almost constantly describing non-stop action. I'm very curious to see what the geniuses Sheth and Tasteless have got to say for us on the analysis desk. Take it away.
You know, there's this way that DRG plays. It's like when he gets to a certain supply, he just turns a switch on, and suddenly the attacks do not stop. What is it about the way that he attacks that makes him the best at this? Is it that he's just picking the right number of units and attacking at the right locations at the right time, or what is it? You're the Zerg expert here, obviously, Sheth.
Well, that's a big part of it, just like what you said, picking the right units, the right time. And even more than that, there's a lot of things like that you got to tell from intuition. Like maybe when he moved up with the Roaches, he saw, well, there's not that many sentries. There's not that many full energy sentries. So this really let him think, like, what's he wasting the gas on? What's he hiding? Let's pressure some more with Roaches. And like if you looked at it, you could feel like Huck was really kind of saying, well, I know he goes Roach to Muta, so let's prepare for the Muta really early. But then like the Roach just kept coming, and like he just wasn't prepared for the continued Roaches, but he was ready for Muta, but he just couldn't hold on until that switch.
Grubby, I want your opinion on something. What did you think about the Warp Prism being sent to the 3rd base? Because I was talking to Sheth, and I was just thinking, I mean, at least when I do the Warp Prism strategy, I always just go towards the main where the ramp is, and then try to figure out if I can't end up with their army not in position, because once you get that force field up, if they're locked out, it just seems to me like you can keep warping in Zealots and just do so much damage. But to go to the 3rd base, I was wondering, do you find that to be incredibly effective?
Well, the thing you would be hoping for is that the Zerg is not quite so fast in pulling away those drones. Hopefully you would be killing some, but I have to just say I very much agree with the essence of what you're saying. You would love to be in the main base. You would not only be able to focus on the drones, but also get into that awkward middle ramp in between the main and the natural.
Right.
And then choose, am I going to warp in some zealots and put them on attack command and just sow general discord and chaos among the opponent? Or am I just going to pick up and leave? And you have that second option. The reason, though, I felt that he was going for the third is because the probability of not getting detected at all would be much higher to fly there. It's a shorter route. There's way less overlords you have to skirt around, and you don't know where they are. So maybe that's why he decided to go there.
Yeah, something else that Sheth and I were talking about as well is that after the +1 attack finished, he never he did not have +2 on the way.
Yeah, even at the end of the game, the +2 wasn't quite. I don't think almost quite finished.
Yeah, he's MC actually managed to have this. I keep calling it a Citadel. Twilight Council made so that he could have that +2. I thought that was a big factor. All right, guys, I think the game is actually ready. So
you bet it is.
Rob and Grubby, take it away.
The super geniuses.
The super geniuses.
And so here we go, moving into game 2. Between these two, it is going to be here on Antigua Shipyard. This is going to be between DRG and Huck. Let's go ahead and get these players introduced down here on the map. Spawning in as the Red Zerg representing Team